Alleluia, 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 alleluia. Speak, O Lord, your servant is listening. You have the words of everlasting life. Alleluia, 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 alleluia.
My friends, the Lord be with you. This is a reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. Glory to you, O Lord. When the Pharisees with some scribes who had come from Jerusalem gathered around Jesus, they observed that some of his disciples ate their meals with unclean, that is, unwashed hands. For the Pharisees, and in fact all Jews, do not eat without carefully washing their hands, keeping the tradition of the elders. And on coming from the marketplace, they do not eat without purifying themselves. And there are many other things that they have traditionally observed, the purification of cups and jugs and kettles and beds. So the Pharisees and the scribes questioned him, "Why do your disciples not follow the tradition of the elders, but instead eat a meal with unclean hands?" He responded, "Well did Isaiah prophesy about you hypocrites, as it is written, 'This people honors me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. In vain do they worship me, teaching as doctrines human precepts.' You disregard God's commandment, but cling to human tradition." He summoned the crowd again and said to them, "Hear me, all of you, and understand. Nothing that enters one from outside can defile that person, but the things that come out from within are what defile. From within people, from their hearts, come evil thoughts, unchastity, theft, murder, adultery, greed, malice, deceit, sensuality, envy, blasphemy, arrogance, folly. All these evils come from within, and they defile." My friends, the gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. This past week, I watched several of the videos of the memorial services for Senator John McCain. And I just happened to turn the news on the other night, just after he died, and they showed this very impressive, put together quickly motorcade of the Arizona State Police as they escorted his body away from his house. And the rest of the week was phenomenally impressive. And like him or not, and I disagree with him on a whole bunch of things, but he was an amazing public servant with a resume that was second to none. What impressed me the most is that the two people that prevented him from being the President of the United States both spoke at his funeral service yesterday, George W. Bush and Barack Obama, at Senator McCain's request. And to me, that's just the epitome of graciousness and dignity. I know he was a public figure for over 35 years, and if you'll pardon the expression, he was a dying breed, where he has as many friends on the left side of the aisle as he does on the right side. In fact, he might just be the last one like that. But I'm not sure how many of us, I know I didn't, knew exactly what he endured as a POW. Listen to this. This is from an article from about 3 years ago. McCain's bomber was hit by a surface-to-air missile on October 26, 1967, destroying the aircraft's right wing. According to McCain, the plane entered an inverted, almost straight down spin, and he ejected. But the sheer force of the ejection broke his right leg and both arms, knocking him unconscious, the report said. McCain came to as he landed in a lake, but burdened by heavy equipment, he sank straight to the bottom. Able to kick to the surface momentarily for air, he somehow managed to activate his life preserver with his teeth. Once he reached the surface, he was pulled ashore by some North Vietnamese. As his captors tore at his clothes in the wake of the crash, McCain recalls realizing the extent of his injuries. When he noticed the injuries to his right leg, where he says had fractured at the knee, one of his captors slammed a rifle butt into his right shoulder, shattering it, the account said. He was then bayoneted in the abdomen and the foot. Over the next few days, he lapsed from conscious to unconsciousness while the North Vietnamese interrogated him. He said, "I refused to give them anything except my name, rank, serial number, and date of birth. I was in such bad shape that when they hit me, it would knock me unconscious." Though initially refusing to give McCain medical treatment, North Vietnamese, upon discovering that McCain's father was an admiral in the Navy, decided to give him medical care. As word got around of McCain's imprisonment and his father's high military rank, several high-ranking North Vietnamese officers came to the prison to observe McCain. Vietnamese surgeons operated on McCain's broken leg, damaging several ligaments in the process. To this day, there's a noticeable limp in McCain's step. And then he was tortured and then put into solitary confinement for a few years. I may have already told you this, but several years ago I buried an elderly veteran of World War II. And after the funeral, his wife said to me, she says, "You know, Father, for 60 years, he would wake up screaming, and he never told me why." How John McCain ever got a full night's sleep ever again, or how we ever left his bedroom after that is beyond me. And this is the man that almost became president of the United States. You know, how? Every person that spoke about him this week talked about his determination, talked about his service, his devotion to the military, to the political process, to his family. But they spoke emphatically that all of that came from the depths of his heart, the core of his being. I mean, today we have many young veterans who are not able to work. Some have committed suicide because of what they endured while in Iraq. God have mercy on them. Senator McCain was tortured and then put into solitary confinement for years, and he came close to being the president. It's staggering to think of what one can do when a person allows their heart to conquer their dark past and dictate a new direction in their lives. We have resumed our listening to the Gospel of St. Mark, where the disciples had just returned from their missionary journey on which Jesus had sent them, where he sent them out in twos to go and do the work of the Lord. And they came back with great success. Now they come upon this team of Pharisees and scribes. And the Pharisees were members of a renewal movement that sought to restore God's favor to Israel by pushing a very strict observance of the law, an observance that really was impossible for most Jewish people, who were simply trying to lead holy lives and take care of their families. Well, the mind of Jesus, what the Pharisees wanted from God's people, was not only impossible, but was also hypocritical and even ridiculous. The Pharisees' insistence on a strict observance of ritual washing before eating was put on the same level of obeying God's word. They were more concerned about being unclean, insisting on these outward worthless rituals, believing that that would make them clean. They did not grasp the truth, or refuse to grasp the truth, that Jesus and his word is what brings purity, and purity can only come from within, from the heart. Jesus said to the crowd, "Hear me," not them, "hear me and understand. Nothing that enters one from outside can defile that person, but the things that come out from within are what defile." Jesus wanted them all to understand, not just the Pharisees, the scribes, not just the Jewish people, but he wanted all of God's people to understand that what one holds in the heart is what directs the movement, what directs their lives. Jesus then gives them a list, first of 6 sinful actions, and he lists them in order of gravity in his own mind. Unchastity, all sex between unmarried people of any kind, theft, murder, adultery, greed, malice. Then he lists 6 sins of interior disposition: deceit, sensuality, envy, blasphemy, arrogance, and folly. He wanted them and us to listen to him and understand. Whether we agree with him or not is completely irrelevant, because he speaks for God. He speaks as God. And these 12 sins are what he considers, in his own words, wicked and evil. And they come from within. These sins come from the heart. My friends, what we can do with what we carry in our hearts is astounding. God gave us faith. It is his gift to us. He filled our hearts with his love so that we can become sources of it. We become the very reason why people feel it. So then we become the path to the kingdom of glory. But what we allow to come forth from within is ours to decide. God rest his soul. But what John McCain had accomplished, even the forgiveness of his captors, with what he allowed to come from within himself, is just a staggering example to all of us of what we can do, of what we can share. We need to remember that faith that God gives to us is his gift to us, as well as the gift of his Son and his Spirit that empowers us. So where we go from here is completely up to us. Do we give in to the outward influences that could destroy us? Or do we rely on the love of God that has always been within us? Thinking specifically of those 12 sins that the Christ himself defines in his words as wicked and evil, which way do we want to take our lives? Honestly. Wish you all God's peace.